We'll be discussing about ViewModel. Okay, so what is a ViewModel actually? ViewModel are the components which is responsible for holding and processing data recorded by the user interface. It has the benefit of surviving configuration changes that destroys and recreates fragments and activities, which allows us it to retain the data that can then be used to repopulate the UI. Okay, so it will eventually be destroyed when the activity or fragment is destroyed without being recreated, or when the application process is terminated. Okay, so this allows ViewModel to serve its responsibility and to have a garbage collected when it is no longer necessary. The only method ViewModel has is the onClear method, which is called when ViewModel terminates. Okay, so you can override this method to terminate ongoing task and deallocate resources which is no longer required. So let me show you the diagram of a ViewModel lifecycle, which has only a method called onCreate, which will be called when you terminate the ongoing task, right? So deallocate the resources that will no longer be required. So this is the difference between activity lifecycle and ViewModel lifecycle, right? And so what is the benefit of ViewModel is like the benefit of ViewModel is like all your logical data is actually will be written in your ViewModel, so which will help us create better clean code, faster unit testing. So testing an activity requires an Android. As you know, the testing of an Android requires a lot of allocation of resources, and like the tests are very lengthy. I mean, like lengthy in the sense like the tests are very slow. Okay, so activity also have states, which means that your test should also get the activity into the proper state for the assertion to work, right? So ViewModel can be unit tested locally on your development machine and can be stateless, meaning that your data processing logic can be tested individually. Okay, so one of the most important feature of ViewModel is that it allows communication between also the fragments. To communicate between fragments without ViewModel, you must make your fragment communicate with the activity, which will then call the fragment you wish to communicate with, right? So without ViewModel, you have to use activity to communicate within the fragments. So with ViewModel, you don't need to do this extra logic, so it will make you more like, you know, your reduce your boilerplate course. And this is the difference between the lifecycle fragment lifecycle and the ViewModel lifecycle. As you see here, it's pretty much similar with that of the activity, right? So okay, so now okay, as I was telling you, to achieve like the communication between the fragments using a ViewModel, you just need to attach it to your parent activity, your ViewModel to your parent activity, and use the same ViewModel in the fragments you wish to communicate with, right? So this will reduce a lot of boilerplate codes that was unnecessary, right? So this is how we communicate between different fragments using the same ViewModel, right? We just share the ViewModel, right? So this is the concept, right, guys? And it will reduce the boilerplate code. Okay, so it was a lot of theoretical part, but I would like to show you in a practical way. We will try to create a very simple application, build a simple application, which is pretty much app with one screen split vertically into two when in portrait mode, and horizontal when in a landscape mode. So first half contains some text, and below it is a button, right? The second half contains only text. Where the screen is open, the text in both halves display total 0 when the button is clicked, and the text will change the total 1 when the click again. So text will change to total 2, like so when you click multiple text, right? So pretty much this is my application. Okay, we have just the press button, so I still have to implement the logical part here. Okay, so okay, let's do step by step. Actually, the first thing that you have to understand is to implement the ViewModel, we have to use the library of lifecycle, right? So lifecycle okay, actually we have not implemented the library, so we will try to implement the library. So compose navigation integration. Okay, so we can just write here view model. So to implement the ViewModel, we have to implement this library, which is life cycle ViewModel. So we are going to use the ViewModel ktx2601. Okay, and sync it. Okay, so actually ViewModel is a part of a lifecycle library, right? Android X lifecycle library. So okay, so we let me sync it. So the sync is perfectly fine, and now we will just step by step implement the logics on the view models, right, step by step. So the first step is let's go to the our okay, let me show you actually how the activity is structured. My activity is structured in this way. It has two fragments, that is on top there is a fragment, split fragment 1, and on bottom you have a split fragment 2. Split fragment 1 actually has a button that you are going to click, and fragment split 1 text view. Okay, so whereas a split fragment 2 has a simple split fragment 2 text view. Okay, so this is how it is structured. And so let's go to the split fragment 1 and add the necessary add the necessary logics, right? So go to the split fragment 1. So where is my split fragment 1? And I'm going to write some logics there. So split fragment 1, this is my binding. So here what I'm going to do on view created, I'm going to find my text view, which is a split 1 text view, and set the text to get string the string dot total. Still I have not yet implemented the total. Okay, let me implement the total. What is my total? So strings guys. Okay, let me create a string resources called label total. So, and my total will have a total of this value. So let me create my label total, and by default we put the default value of 0, right? So and then we have to add our another functionality, which is prepare our view model. Okay, so here now we're gonna prepare our view model function. This is a private function actually. Prepare our view model. So this preparation of the view model, what it's gonna do is total view model. So we have a view model provider. So required activity get okay, so we need to also actually create our view model, right? Obviously, because we have not created our view model. So let's go and create our view model. So our view model will be called as a total view model, which is pretty much gonna calculate the total. So you have to, okay, let me just reduce this emulator screen, so it's like a view model. So you have a view model, and now you have to implement your necessary logical parts here. So function increase total, so you increase the total to int total incremented, and you return the total, right? You increase and you return the total. So so now this view model is being instantiated by get total view model class Java, and what is done here is we will now find our update our we will update the text, right? So total view model dot total. Okay, so let me create another function, update text. This update text with by with the value of int, it's like with binding. Now you have your split sorry guys, split one text view dot text. You set the text get string dot label total, and you pass the total like value, right? So this is how we update the string. And finally we also need to add the necessary listeners for your so binding dot actually we can also add the necessary no actually binding dot button. So when you click set on click listener, you just have to update your text, right, with the total view model and the increase total. So this is our simple implementation, right? And logics are all lying in the total view model. So we can run our application and check if it's pretty working. And meanwhile we'll also have to implement the split fragment too. Press me 1 2 3 4 5, you see it's pretty working. So now also if you can or change the orientation, total is 9 is still present, you know, like okay, auto rotate is on. And yeah, if you rotate, you see still your total is still being saved, you know. So it's pretty much like saving the configuration changes, right? So this is the power of view model. And okay, now the second part is like our second screen, like our split fragment 2. Okay, so let's go to our split fragment 2 and do the necessary implementation. So what we have to do here is the similar process. What we are going to do here is first we find the view model, right? Like the split to text view, right? The text is pretty much set to get string total, and the default value is 0. And we will get the total view model is a view model provider, and get the required activity, get the total view model, right? That's the Java. And now we update. Similarly we will do the same concept actually. Split fragment 1, like we need to update the text. So let's go copy it. We are doing similar process here, right? But here it's like fragment split 2. So we will update the text passing the total view model dot total, right? So this is the concept. So actually, you know, the concept is we are having two fragments and we are trying to see the communication between two fragments is pretty much very easy when using the view model, right? So let me run the application now. And now let's see. You see the total is 0 0 now. So if I press here, the total is 1, is 2, is 3, but our total here is not getting incremented, right? because it's a different fragment, so that's how it is happening, right? uh, okay, so uh, okay, so I think we are pretty much okay with our concept here. And yeah, so guys, as you can see, the button is clicked and updated on the first half of the screen but not on the second half of the screen. This means that our application doesn't react properly to the changes in the view model. Okay, so this means that also we need a publisher subscriber approach to monitor changes that occurs in our data. So yeah, this is the first section of the tutorial where we are just updating our using our view model to make changes, but there is also like the communication part of publishing and subscribing approach to monitor the changes that is occurring on the second part. Will be occurring in the data. So in the next section we'll be looking about the some common data streams that view model can use to notify when the data is changed, right? So in this tutorial we just implemented the view model, which is responsible for incrementing an integer value that was displayed in the screen and is pretty much surviving the screen changes, right? You see, it's pretty much surviving the screen changes. So yeah, that's it guys. But in the later tutorial we will just trying to focus also on the publishing and subscribing approach to to notify the change of data. Thank you guys.